To the campaign trail now, where former President Trump remains the clear frontrunner among the Republican field. Half of the dozen contenders for the GOP nomination are either current or former governors, including our next guest, one of the most vocal critics of the former president. Joining me now, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Governor, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
All right, we're going to start with a reality check. Our latest Fox News poll has you at 1%. New York Magazine Intelligencer has this headline: Chris Christie is running. What is he even thinking? They say there is, to put it mildly, a thunderous lack of demand for a Christie bid among Republican voters. In a much discussed CBS YouGov survey in early May, an incredible 70% of Republicans said they would not even consider voting for Christie, by far the worst showing in the field. So, are you in this simply as a spoiler for President Trump, or what is your path forward? Because, you know, people who support you say, hey, even if that's what you're doing, they think it's a laudable goal. But what's the plan?
No, Shannon, we're in this to win. And by the way, we'll have some announcements this week that are going to show people that the Intelligencer is wrong, that there is a broad and wide demand for our candidacy. And quite frankly, what the demand is for the truth. The people in the Republican Party, and quite broadly across America, are tired of having political candidates who are snake oil salesmen, who just don't tell them the truth, who tell them whatever they think they want to hear at the moment, and then don't fulfill any of those promises. They've lived that in the Republican primary. I was there in 2016 when Donald Trump said he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare and failed to do it. When he said he was going to build a big, beautiful wall across the entire border of Mexico, and that Mexico was going to pay for it. We've got a quarter of a wall and not one peso from Mexico. When he said he was going to balance the budget in 4 years and added $6 trillion to the national debt. And now, yesterday in Iowa, telling people that he would solve the war between Russia and Ukraine in 24 hours. The only way he could do that is do what he normally does, which is bend down to Vladimir Putin and get him whatever he wants. So there's a long way to go in this campaign. And by the way, Shannon, when you talk about polls, at this time in 2015, Donald Trump was at 4%. So I don't think anybody should be worried about the polling right now. And some of our announcements this week will lead people to believe that there's a lot of support for this candidacy.
Okay, you've said that President Trump, quote, doesn't give a damn about the American people. Millions of them think he is the only guy out there fighting for them. That is their perception. Tens of thousands of them show up at each of his campaign stops. So do you really think you can convince those folks otherwise?
Well, first of all, tens of thousands don't show up anymore. That's another one of the real big lies that happen.
Let's just for a second, Pickens, South Carolina, just a week or so ago, it's a town of maybe 3,500 people, and local estimates, their authorities, their officials, police and stuff there, they said 50,000 people potentially.
That was, look, all you have to do is look at the pictures and realize, Shannon, that 50,000 is absurd. But I'm not going to get into an argument about that. Here's why he doesn't care about the American people. He droned on for an hour and a half yesterday in Iowa. He lied about the farm deal with the Chinese. They haven't even complied with a quarter of what they agreed to Donald Trump to do in terms of buying soybeans and other things from the farmers in Iowa. And he spent the rest of the time talking about his own indictment. This is not somebody who's fighting for the American people and their future. This is all about his ego. What he cares about the most is trying to undo the loss he had to Joe Biden in 2020. But since he's a three-time loser, having lost in 2018, the House of Representatives, lost the White House and the Senate in 2020, and in 2022, he wound up losing 2 more governorships, another seat in the Senate, and we barely won the House by 5 votes, when in fact, you had a president whose popularity was at 35%. So he's in this for himself and himself only, and not in it for the American people. And over the course of the time, Republican primary voters are going to see that too. If we want to lose to Joe Biden again and have an 82-year-old Joe Biden in the White House, then let's nominate Donald Trump.
All right, you are one of the few willing to talk about entitlement reform, about potential changes to programs like Social Security. How do you do that against headlines like this? Current Affairs says why the right hates Social Security and how they plan to destroy it. What's your plan, and how do you sell it to people?
Well, you sell it to people because in 2034, Shannon, if nothing is done, then there will be an automatic, by law, 24% cut in Social Security benefits. So I want every Social Security recipient out there right now who intends to still be receiving those benefits going forward to see what a 24% cut in their benefits would mean. We need to look at all the different options to try to fix Social Security. We don't need to look at raising taxes. We've got plenty in taxes right now in this country. But we need to look at things like, do the extraordinarily wealthy need to collect Social Security? I mean, do we really need to have Warren Buffett and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk collecting Social Security and others that are very, very wealthy? And also, when you look at the age of retirement, you don't want to change that for people who are now in their 50s or 60s. That would be unfair. They wouldn't have time to plan. But I say this, I have a son who will be 30 years old this fall. If we change the Social Security age for somebody like him, and he can't figure out how to plan for that over the course of the next 35 years, he's got bigger problems than worrying about what his Social Security benefits are going to be. We need to be real about this, Shannon. And I don't hate Social Security. I love Social Security. And that's why I don't want to see a 24% cut in benefits, because we were too timid and too afraid. And this is another place where Donald Trump says he will do nothing to change it. Well, he won't care, because even if he ran again, he'd be out of the White House before this cut happened, and he would be able to say that it was somebody else's fault. I want to take on the big problems in this country and solve them for the American people.
Okay, let's talk, because of your background as a U.S. attorney, I'm really curious about what you think about this Hunter Biden investigation. U.S. Attorney David Weiss. We have a whistleblower, Gary Shapley, who quotes from a meeting that he and others attended with Weiss. So there are other people there in October of 2022. He said Weiss stated that he is not the deciding person on whether charges are filed. Now, both Weiss and the Attorney General have said he's got the authority to do whatever he wants. Should Weiss testify? Should he explain? Where do you think there is daylight or truth in this conversation?
Well, listen, U.S. Attorney Weiss has to explain himself, and he has to explain himself in public. You know, the fact is that this investigation to Hunter Biden in Delaware is either a lie or it's incompetent. There's no way that it should take 5 years to get to a 2-count misdemeanor tax plea and then to dismiss the gun charges. You know, those gun charges carry up to a 10-year sentence to lie on the application. Democrats are crying and complaining all the time about wanting more gun laws, yet they won't even enforce the gun laws that exist. And Hunter Biden should have been charged under those gun laws. Add to that you have a 2-count misdemeanor tax plea that should not have taken all the time that it did. So either David Weiss is incompetent in taking 5 years to do that, or he's not telling the truth and Merrick Garland's not telling the truth. Either way, there's a lot more work to be done on this case. And these are the kind of things that, given my background as a U.S. attorney, I'm the only one in this race who will be able to fix the Department of Justice in a way where they don't proceed any longer they have to do with fear, no favor, no partisanship. And that's the way those decisions need to be made.
But Governor,
that's when I did it when I was U.S. attorney, and it's not being done now. Part
of your plan, though, is to keep FBI Director Christopher Wray, which most of the folks in your field say they're firing him on day one. He's going to testify this week before the House Judiciary Committee. What does he need to say about whistleblowers, how they're being treated in this case, and real problems at the FBI as uncovered in the Durham report?
Well, look, and all those problems happened, Shannon, during the Jim Comey era. And Christopher Wray has come in and fired every person that was in the Comey leadership team in the FBI. These whistleblowers have come out because the atmosphere has allowed it to happen now, not during the Comey era, not during the Loretta Lynch era when she was Attorney General, and they weren't charging Hillary Clinton, which is what they should have done. You know, the fact is that these other folks in the race, they just are looking for a scapegoat. They want to blame anybody. Well, I will tell them who to blame. Blame Joe Biden and Merrick Garland, who have not provided the type of leadership in the country or at the Justice Department that you need. And look, Shannon, people should go to chrischristie.com. They should look at what we have to say and to donate to the campaign, and we'll have these debates right on the stage.
All right. So, Governor, it sounds like maybe the FBI director gets to stay, but not the Attorney General. Governor, we'll see you out there on the campaign trail. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.